Okay, so obviously the best way to win in Valorant is to just kill all of the opponents every round. Maybe you have Shroud-like aim and this is an option for you, but for most people, it's just not. And I would even say that one player getting a lot of kills and being dependent on that every game is not the best way to consistently rank up, because everyone has a bad game, or multiple bad games when it comes to aim. There are a lot of people that are complaining about being hard stuck in certain ranks, and as I've coached people, done VOD reviews live on stream, and ranked up all the way to Immortal myself in solo queue, I've noticed that most people are making the same mistakes, myself included for a lot of these. So let's talk about them, and how you can improve them and stop making these mistakes. First, I stream every Thursday at 6:30 Central Time right here on the YouTube channel and over at twitch.tv/BrianHootie. I also sprinkle in a few late night streams over on Twitch every week, so make sure you're smashing that like button and following me over on Twitch. We also have a small and in the works Discord community where I actively chat and help gamers just like you. You can find those links in the description down below. So if you're down in iron, bronze, or even up in gold, there's a good chance that you probably need to work on your mechanics a little bit, specifically your aim. I've even seen diamond and immortal players that don't have very good aim and make me question about how they got there. But if you're deliberately working on your aim, you can make huge gains in rank and skill level, and it will definitely help you rank up to a certain point. If you're an iron or bronze player and you don't have much game sense and knowledge about the game, but you have really good aim, you could probably get yourself up to gold or platinum. You can carry yourself up there just by having good aim. So working on your aim is important, and there are a few things that you can work on to improve your aim. Look at your DPI and your sensitivity. I'm not saying you have to play at a specific DPI and sensitivity, because you can be good at whatever you're playing on, but there is something to think about. If you go and look at all the pros DPI and sensitivity, most of them are playing on 400 or 800 DPI, and most of them are playing on a pretty low sensitivity, somewhere between 0.2 and 0.8 sensitivity. For reference, I play on 0.85 with 400 DPI. This is pretty high, but that being said, most of my aiming comes from arm movements instead of wrist movements, which is what I want, because that allows me to have more control and more muscle memory, and the slower sensitivity allows me to make micro adjustments without completely ruining my aim. The next thing you need to do is practice, and I mean very deliberate practice, where you are just working on your aim. Head over to the practice area, head into Aim Labs, 3D Aim Trainer, Kovacs, or whatever you're using, and shoot bots for 10 to 20 minutes before you play a game. You don't need to do this for hours every day, although if you have hours, that's better, but you can just do this for 10 to 20 minutes before you play Valorant every time you log on to play. And if you do that, you will see huge increases in your aim in a pretty short period of time if you weren't doing this before. If you were doing this already a little bit before, it might be a little bit slower, but you'll still see huge increases. So make sure you're practicing. Head into that practice area and kill those bots. Next, this one kind of goes along with aim, but you need to have proper crosshair placement. And this is a huge issue in the lower ranks. The more VODs I watch, the more I see this. You will win way less gunfights if you're aiming at the ground, or if you're training your crosshair on the corner or on the wall as you peek around the corner. You need to be very deliberate about this as well. You need to be thinking about where your crosshair should be. Crosshair placement is incredibly important. Understanding that you need to be aiming at head level, because the first one to hit a headshot in a gunfight is typically going to win that gunfight, is something that you need to do. You need to understand that, you know, if you're using an operator, you shouldn't be aiming for the head level. You should be aiming for the body, because the operator is a one-shot kill to the body and the body's a bigger target. So you don't want to go for a headshot and miss. This is something that won't come natural. If you've never played this type of game before, you're not just going to instantly understand that you always need to be aiming at head level and do it instinctively. For me, this is something that's very easy. I don't have to think about it much, but I spent thousands of hours learning how to do this in Counter-Strike. For you, you have to think about it, and make sure you're thinking about it all the time. It will eventually become second nature and you won't have to think about it as much, but you need to think about it until it gets to that point. So work on your crosshair placement and aim at people's heads. Then the next one I've talked about in a few other videos a little bit already, so I won't spend too much time on it, but communicate with your teammates and be positive. You just need to stop being toxic. People are talking down to their teammates after they make a bad play, or telling them what they did was wrong. And you may be right. They may have made a mistake. but you telling them in the moment fixes nothing. Instead, say, "Nice try, dude," or "You'll get them next time, man or woman." This type of positive reinforcement is going to lead to an overall more confident teammate. And then also with communication, stop backseat gaming. If someone is in the middle of a clutch situation and they're trying to figure it out, let them try to figure it out. Obviously, if you have some information they don't have or you don't think they have, call it out. If you think you saw someone or if you think there's someone in a certain position that they're not aware of, you need to say that. But stop telling them how to play the game. Don't tell them you need to be doing this or you need to be doing that. Let them figure it out. Let them learn and improve. And then when they fail, tell them nice try. And if they don't fail, reinforce them even more. Tell them great job. But stop telling them how to play. You don't like it when someone's talking in your ear while you're trying to win? Don't talk in theirs. Speaking of teammates, one thing a lot of lower ranked players don't do very well is playing off your teammates. In a lot of other games, this is called baiting to some extent, but it's not a bad thing. When your teammate goes to take a gunfight and they go and die, you need to be there to peek and trade that kill. Traditionally, someone will call this baiting, but that's a good thing because you're leveling the playing field. Support your teammates and be there to trade those kills when they die, because you don't want to end up in a situation where you're in a 4v5 or a 3v5 just because you decided not to peek and help your teammate. You also need to stop holding redundant angles. If you have a teammate with you on B bomb site on bind, and you're both on the bomb site looking at long, and nobody's watching hookah to see if any enemies are pushing up there or they're running in there, then you're holding a redundant angle. You need to switch it up. You need to make sure that, yes, while you want to play off of your teammates and trade their deaths, you also want to make sure that you're not all watching the same position, because if an enemy flanks you or pushes a different direction and nobody's looking there, you're both going to blame each other, but nobody did anything about it. So make sure you're not watching the exact same spot as your teammate. And on top of that, stop sitting in useless spots. One very specific instance I've seen of this recently is a Cypher playing on B on bind, sets up his trap wires and everything, and then goes and hides in elbow. He's got another teammate that's on the bomb site watching for a push by himself. If an enemy pushes long or into hookah, he's not in a position to do anything to help his teammate. You need to be in a position where, at the very least, you need to be able to help your teammate if they need it. Don't be sitting in a useless position on your camera if you're Cypher or as any other agent just waiting for something to happen. Speaking of agents, please stop wasting your abilities. Don't use them too early and don't use them just to use them. My rule of thumb for abilities, unless you're playing Cypher or another agent in the future that also requires setup, is to wait until you know where you're going to be pushing or the enemy is going to be pushing you, and use your abilities to either delay them, do damage, stop a plant, stop a defuse, find the enemies, flash the enemies. Use them when you know they're going to affect an enemy. Throwing out your boom bot on short on bind at the very beginning of the round when you know the enemy's there and you know they're going to shoot it before it explodes is totally pointless. You're gaining nothing from this. So make sure you're saving your abilities and using them. So if an enemy starts pushing up short, you can use the boom bot to then draw their crosshair down, where you can then peek behind the boom bot and maybe pick up a kill. I know I'm talking about Raze's abilities here, but it goes for every agent. I see this happen a lot with Sage's slow orbs. People just throw them out, and for no reason, there's no enemies there that are being delayed or slowed down. They're not pushing. Why did you throw a slow orb? Speaking of Sage though, you need to understand the strength of support and information operators such as Cypher and Sage. I see a lot of players either not picking these agents and just playing fragging agents, or they do pick them and they don't take advantage of their abilities properly. I'll be the first one to tell you, obviously play the agent that you're the most comfortable with, because this is how you're going to have a high impact in the game. But you also need to take into account that this is a team game and team composition does matter to a certain extent. So if you see all of the other teammates on your team have picked agents already and there are no agents that can properly slow down an enemy or gain any information, maybe you should pick one of those agents. I love Cypher. I've got a lot of videos on Cypher. One that I just released recently, you'll see it linked in the top right hand corner of the screen right now. Cypher is huge. He can help a team, especially a team if you're solo queuing, help them gain information and help them be better. Information is king in this game, and so being able to stop or slow down an enemy push is huge. Being able to find an enemy and understand where the enemy might be pushing at or where they might be flanking from, that's huge as well. Help your teammates be better, but also do your best. Both of those things are important. I don't think one of them is mutually exclusive. You performing at a high level in terms of fragging, but then letting your entire team get wiped because you were just focused on yourself is not going to win you games. And then you need to make sure you're recording yourself. This is big for game sense, or even just short clips of certain rounds that didn't go so hot, or maybe the ones that did go well, and understand why you lost or why you won, what you could have done better, what you did correctly, what you didn't do correctly. I also do live coaching and VOD review on stream. So if you want to submit a clip for review, join the Discord server and submit it in the VOD review channel. My goal here is to help you become the best player possible and to help you rank up. So if I can watch some of your gameplay and give you feedback on what you need to improve, or what you could have done better, or maybe even what you did well to help reinforce what you're learning and what you're improving on, then I would love to do that for you. You can find the link for the Discord server in the description down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something. I'd love to hear from you and hear your comments. Let me know what you're struggling with in Valorant in the comments down below or in the Discord server and chat. I'm very responsive there and I try to respond to all comments on all of my videos. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.
Garage, I think. Yep.
Last player standing.
No way this works.
Clutch.
Wow.
You only thought that